Information is power. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
I've been feeling emotional, thinking about you, babe. What can we focus on? What we should do? Tell me the truth, 'cause I don't wanna see you with somebody else. And I've been feeling lonely in this king-size bed. I'm trying not to worry about the things you say. I ain't got the time, you're always on my mind. Baby, why you playing with my love?
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
I'll never be sober if you don't pull me closer. Look me in my eyes and tell me how. I'm hypnotized. I'm hypnotized. I've been feeling delusional, thinking about us, babe. Your body's so beautiful. All I want is your love, can't get enough. 'Cause I don't wanna see you with somebody else. And I've been feeling lonely in this king-size bed. I'm trying not to worry about the things you say. I ain't got the time, you're always on my mind. Baby, why you playing with my love? I'm trying to be patient with you now. I'll never be sober if you don't pull me closer. Look me in my eyes and tell me how. I'm hypnotized. I'm hypnotized.
Okay, everybody. Peace, everybody. Let's do a little bit of a test. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for your patience. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope that you've had a safe week, that you've had a positive week. There's a lot going on around this so-called election that is hitting down on Tuesday. What I want to do tonight is I'm going to read over in summary the contract with Black America by way of Ice Cube. I think a lot of people got his approach all wrong, calling him a sellout, making thumbnails with the mega hat on top of it on his head, when the man has simply come up with a plan. I'm going to go over the summary I'm going to put it on the screen very nicely, very professionally, and I'm going to read it off. And tonight, with the time that we have, I know it's late for some people across the country. I want to go through the plan, through the 13 summarized plan, because if you pull up the actual website itself, you can go a little bit deeper. What I've been noticing on social media, YouTube, and about everybody's sort of summarizing the 13 summarization of his plan, okay, which I'm going to do tonight, but then they're reading too much into it because they did not read the details, which is in the actual website that goes a little bit deeper in breaking down all the different summary points. So I want to go over those summary points tonight to see whether you like them, you don't like them, you agree, if you see some things that'll be doable and what have you. We got Rob in the house. We got Jackie in the house. G. Scott's come in. Thank you, sister, for being here. June Zone is in the house. Journey of Life podcast is in the house. That's a great name. You look like you changed your name. I like that. Peter's in the house. Dow is in the house. And we'll just see how many people we get this late night that come over and listen to the program. And we got my sister Deborah Catch by Faith. Now, I want y'all to do me the biggest favor. I'm going to mod this sister up because she's had my back. I've been checking out her channel. She is inspirational. She is powerful. I want you all to definitely give Deborah Catch by Faith a great greeting in the chat room. Give her your support. Check out her channel. Write down her name so that you can go back into the search engine of YouTube and check her channel out. I've been hanging out over on her channel, sometimes on the weekend, just helping out. If you're trying to grow your channel, she definitely supports people when it comes to growing your channel and things of that nature. But she's a positive sister, and I want to see her do well on YouTube. She's a positive sister, no flash. You know, she just tells it like it is, positive energy. So let's give her some love in the chat room if we could, everybody. I appreciate those of you that are here tonight. So like I said, you know, people are looking over this plan. I've been watching it. You know, people are giving their opinions about the plan, whether it's going to work, whether it's doable. And I want to say this again. When Ice Cube crafted this plan, and you could tell by reading it that he didn't do all this by himself. He had professional people assist him in this process. I know that he was on Tone Talk's channel, talking to Tone Talks. I'm sure they got his ear. They, you know, helped him change a few things, you know. So you can clearly tell that he's had some professional people help him put the plan together. And I'm going to say it again. It's not really bothering me, but I got to just keep it. I got to keep it 100 tonight. What I'm noticing, particularly on YouTube and in social media, is that they're trying to create this divide between black women and black men. Okay. All over this political game. So we're setting up here as black people, black men and black women, getting into emotional conversation, arguing with each other, bickering back and forth, trying to figure out which one of these white supremacists we want to choose to vote for. Let me put up their pictures here and let me get a little bit deeper into this. So we want to figure out if we want to vote for this particular white supremacist right here, and that's Donald Trump. A man who, by the way, everybody, I don't know how many of you out there have really examined this. You know, he has said a lot of disrespectful things about black women, particularly Maxine Waters. And then he went out to Minnesota today talking about Umar. So he is really quite a buffoon. So we're all on YouTube getting all emotional, getting all besides ourselves. Let me play a little mood music here. Getting all besides ourselves over which one of these individuals we should pour our hearts all into, pour all our attention. all our efforts, all our love, things of that nature. So let me see here why I pull that down. Hang on, folks. Let me play a little mood music real quick. All right, let me come back. I'll fix that a little bit later. So we're trying to decide on which one of these individuals that black folks should trust. Should it be Joe Biden, Jim Crow Joe Biden, or should it be Donald Trump? So that, to me, from a psychological point of view, is a we got to look at ourselves in the mirror, black people, and ask ourselves, why are we all in our feelings? We got black people who are strongly behind Joe Biden. They're all in their feelings. We got black folks who are Trump supporters, black men, black women, but there's quite a few black men who are all in their feelings about Donald Trump. You can't say anything about him. You can't say he's a racist when he does have a history. I could break that history down. Most people can't break the history down. I could break his history down going all the way back to New York, not just about the Central Park Five. We could talk about that housing discrimination. Let's talk about how he's talked about black people, not wanting them to be in key positions in his business. Oh, yeah. And if you're going to use rappers as your barometer for, oh, he ain't racist, that's bullshit. He's a transactional guy, and those rappers and entertainers, they want something from Donald Trump. You can't use that as the barometer. It's a transactional relationship. I said that before. Then when you look at Joe Biden, many of us blame him for the 94 crime bill that he crafted along with Strom Thurmond, who was a Dixiecrat. And we say, well, it put a lot of black men in jail and prison. While we blame Biden for that, and he should take blame along with Bill Clinton, we should criticize him. Let's not forget those black preachers, a hooping and a hollering black preachers back in 94 who were behind that bill. Matter of fact, there were a lot of black people in key leadership positions that were in favor of that bill, because that was during the time when you had all the gang banging and you had the drive-by shootings and all these different things that were happening. You had black people out there saying, government, please do something. So there's a lot of, although we put a finger at Joe Biden's ass, there were a lot of black key leaders and politicians and these pigs feet eating preachers out here who were supporting that bill, which put more than a little bit of black men behind bars. And so Joe Biden now is trying to make amends for that by apologizing and also telling us, if you don't vote for him, then you ain't black. Check this one out.
Problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Then we got the dog whistle of one Trump. And that dog whistle is a dog whistle that he has been saying from the very beginning, and that is,
we will make America great again.
We will make America great again. And that ain't nothing but a dog whistle to tell white people in America that we're going to make America white again. We're going to bring it back to when white people were in power, which is why he capitulates to the white supremacists. And a lot of us want to say that, he's not racist, even though he can't, when he was on that debate with Biden, it took him forever to say something. Then when he says something, he's telling people to stand back and stand by. So we as black people, once again, are in a position in which we have to pick the lesser of the two evils. And the question I've said on these airways before, why would you pick any evil? Now, I know we want to get Donald Trump out of office because a lot of people are sick of his tactics, the way he carries himself, the way he talks, his kind of trailer trash language. And they said this week that white men who are uneducated, meaning white, and he said he likes the uneducated too, by the way, white men who don't have a college education are voting for him, right? And guess who those white men are? I can make a inference that a lot of those are the white men that you see in the Proud Boys, the Boogaloo Boys. These are the trailer park type white men who join militias because they feel inadequate. And so out of their inadequacy, they must join something to give themselves power. And Donald Trump feeds into that narrative. Now, while we're arguing on social media and over these type of foolish debates over which one of these white supremacists that we need to put in office, while we're arguing back and forth about that, my man Ice Cube came out with his plan for Black America. And the first thing we did as a people, some of us, not all of us, we jumped down his throat. We criticized him. We said that he was a Trump fan, a mega hat wearing. No, let's get the record straight because I keep hearing this nonsense on the YouTube streets. Ice Cube clearly said again, the Democratic Party came to him. He didn't run to them. And the Republican Party came to him. We already know why. Because they want the black male vote. Because black women are on board as the biggest supporters of the Democratic Party. Black men, black men are taking a step back because we're looking at Biden's record. Then you got black men who feel that they have prospered. They have benefited economically under the Donald Trump, especially if you are a black man who's middle class, upper middle class, you're a businessman, you're making money, you feel that Donald Trump's policies have benefited you. If you are a black person who's low on the economic ladder, you're not going to be happy with Donald Trump's policies when he's giving the 1%. I'm going to say it again. When he's giving the 1% a permanent tax cut, but you don't get a permanent tax cut. And he's deregulating everything because that's supposed to create more stimulus and activity in terms of generating jobs. And he holds on that he single-handedly saved the black colleges. That is not true. It was the Congress who put the bill into action to give historical black colleges more money. What Donald Trump did is he signed the bill that was crafted by Congress, which was made up mostly of Democrats, and you have Republicans too. They put that together, he signed it, and then he went around boasting and taking credit and saying, hey, I saved historical black colleges. Oh, see, I gave them more money than Obama. So I find it interesting how we are so quick to criticize black people who may have a difference of opinion in us in terms of politically. We'll criticize black people who want to vote for Donald Trump. Hey, I'm guilty of it too. We'll criticize black people who want to vote for Biden. We criticize but we are quick to jump all over Ice Cube, throw him under the bus, when the man never said that he was rocking with Trump, that he was voting for Trump. He simply said they met with him, they liked some of his plan, and they implemented some of it. The Democrats said, hey, we like it. We got to get elected first. We like all that plan. Maybe we can implement it if we get elected first. And he said they dealt with him politely, maybe brushed him off, as he said. Yet people got wax in their ears and they're coming up with their own ideology as to what Ice Cube's position is. Ice Cube's position is a position of unity, saying that if either one of these white supremacists, of these both white supremacist parties get in, we got to still hold their feet to the fire. That's what he was doing. On the other hand, 50 Cent, who's down, by the way, if you heard the latest news, he's changed his mind. I think he's changed his mind and says he's not supporting Trump. I did a video about him, but it looks like he's changed his mind. And there's a picture out there with old Sambo himself. What's that rapper who shot himself some years ago? What's that rapper out of New Orleans? He's now supporting what's this? Let me see something. I have this right here in my phone, and let me see if I can find the actual. I gotta remind Lil Wayne. It came to my mind. Lil Wayne took a photo op with Donald Trump, and he's supporting Trump. And check this out. Now, not Ice Cube, 50 Cent is now criticizing. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, folks. You just can't make this stuff up. Okay? You've got 50 Cent criticizing Lil Wayne for supporting Trump now, when 50 Cent just a minute ago said he was concerned about his taxes not going up to 60-something%, that he didn't want to go from 50 cents to 20 cents, but now he's criticizing Lil Wayne. You see how this, you see? So we're quick to jump on each other as black people, but we're so willing to defend the white supremacists. We're so willing to say, hey, Donald Trump ain't no racist. See, Donald Trump put some money in my pocket. You see, he lowered unemployment. Only time black folks have ever been unemployed in America is when we were in shackled slavery. That's the only time we've never been, and even then we didn't get any money. It was slavery. So everybody's off. That's what everybody's talking points are. Oh, he held black people with the unemployment. That's black people's talking points about this white supremacist, right? And then the other white supremacist, Joe Biden, I'm going to move on. The talking points on him is that you got to forgive him. He saw the error of his ways. Oh, wait a minute. He put a black woman on the ticket with him. So that means it's all good like Campbell's soup. I'm telling everybody out there, you can't trust either one of these parties, no matter who gets in. And that's the reason why Ice Cube came up with his contract with Black America, because the whole goal was to do what? To say, we got to have a system and a plan to hold both these parties accountable for the effery. But what did we do to Ice Cube? As I said before, we crucified him, criticized him. Look at the blood on his chin. That's how we treated him. We beat him up. We beat the man up when the man is doing something in the right direction. I don't see any, and I know we don't want rappers, and we don't necessarily want celebrities to always speak for us and to be leaders for us. And Ice Cube never said he was a leader. But I'm saying he's doing a hell of a lot more than most of his peers who are telling you to buy their latest album. He's selling us something that we actually need. And we need to get into this plan right now. So with that said, let me fire up a little music and get us into that plan in just a moment. Hang on, folks. Peace to everybody in the chat room. I appreciate everybody who's being here. Underrated Darkness, Earl Owens, Brother Aduvian, everybody that's coming in the house this late night. I appreciate you being here.
Tell the truth.
And doing your thing. So let me set this up right now, folks. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all. Let's go here.
I'ma give it to you, yeah. Promise, I'ma give it to you. La, 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 la.
And if you can, everybody, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you can. I appreciate that too as well. Definitely subscribe, everybody. I appreciate that. Peace to everybody in the chat room. Okay, everybody, let's go over this. I will be asking questions of people in the chat room. I appreciate everyone that is here. Let me know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat room or say yes. What's going on, AM1? What's going on, brother? Good to see you here. Tiffany Jackson's in the house. Discussions with Dana is in the house. Appreciate you being here. Dana, if that's the Dana that I think it is, let me know if you are the Dana that I think you are. St. Louis Natural Hair Expo is in the house. Everybody can hear me. Discussions with Dana says peace info. Thank you. Is that the real Dana or a different Dana? Whoever you are, I appreciate you being here. So let's get into this. Okay. So this is the representation. This is what Ice Cube, the man that some of us were demonizing, and we're bickering over two white supremacists, but this is a man who comes up with a plan that I don't think I've ever seen any black politician, Clyburn, the Congressional Black Caucus, have any of you seen any of these black leaders that have been in the government for God knows how long? How many of you have seen them come up with a plan like Ice Cube has come up, even if he got assistance from other people? How many? If you have seen black politicians come up with a plan like this, put a yes in the chat room. If you've never seen any black politicians, I'm not talking about Dr. Claude Anderson. He's not a black politician. If you haven't seen them, put a no in the chat room. If you have seen them, put a yes. I'm saying I haven't seen any of them put a plan together like this. This is the first part of the plan. Representation. Build to guarantee black opportunity in representation. Adopt a plan of neo-reconstruction to redress past wrongs systematically imposed on black Americans economically, right? Because we got a gap, an economic gap in this country. Economically, throughout many generations that has resulted in wealth gaps where the average white family has 10 times the wealth of a black family, in addition to some of the economic initiatives listed below. Also, formally apologize to Black America for past discrimination and slavery. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't give a damn about an apology. Cut the damn reparations check. That's all you got to do, as far as I'm concerned. But that's me, folks. That's information, man. Okay? Now, additionally, Black opportunities and representation will include affirmative action in schools, public and private. Now, I know there's somebody out there that's listening to me that's going to say, well, Black folks don't need no affirmative action because what you're doing is you're hiring people who ain't qualified. Shut up. Affirmative action was designed to assist people, Black people who were qualified, who would not otherwise get an opportunity, whether it would be to get into school or get a particular job that they were qualified for, because white folks have always had the head start ahead of us. That's what affirmative action was technically designed for. And we do know that white women in American society have been the biggest beneficiaries of the affirmative action plan. I will admit to that. That is true. Now, public and private schools, affirmative action in schools, public and private schools. I think like the Republicans love charter schools and private schools and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna be honest. I think we do need to have more choice and options to where we can send our kids to school, because some of these public schools are raggedy and ain't doing a great job. So I do agree. I used to be against that, but I think we do need to have more choice and opportunity to go to the schools, to get our kids in schools that we feel are in the best interest of that child. Every man, woman, and father is, we live in a society that divides us into being individuals. We live in a society that divides us between blue states and red states and all this type of bullshit that you're hearing within this campaign. It's all rhetoric. It's all rhetoric. This political game is dividing people. And then Black people are looking back and saying, well, where do we fit in? Okay, where do we fit in? Can we get a little, what crumbs are you going to throw at us, the Republican Party? What crumbs are you going to throw at us, Democratic Party? Now, I was listening to folks on YouTube talking about, well, the Republicans are not a party of racism, it's the Democrats. Yeah, the Democrats are a party of racism. The Democrats were originally the Dixiecrats. They are the party that created the Ku Klux Klan. They were the party that was trying to keep Black people in slavery. The Republican Party was the party that was being a little bit more open about trying to end slavery. Let me just say that. Okay? That was the party of Lincoln. That was the party that was trying to uphold a republic. But this is what happened to the Republican Party, which is why they are racist, just as racist as the Democratic Party is. The Dixiecrats in the Democratic Party we call today left the Dixiecrat Party and went over to the Republican Party, which is why the Republican Party became what it became under Ronald Reagan and all the rest of them before him. What you have with Donald Trump is not a Republican Party. You have a Trump Party. This party has been made in the likeness and the attitude and the ideology of Donald Trump. It is not your grandfather's Republican Party anymore. But those Dixiecrats jumped over there and brought their racism over there with them. That is historical facts. I dare anybody to debate me on that is not a historical fact of how that the Dixiecrats jumped. And that the Democrats was the party that was trying to oppress and hold Black people down. But the whole system was designed to hold Black people back. So on the plan, he says affirmative action schools, private schools, per student funding in states on a equal basis instead of paid by local property tax, black representation on all government civil rights bodies, civil rights classes, mandatory in education schools, gerrymandering reform, additional polling places in black and minority neighborhoods, Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday. This is part of his first step of his plan. Now, one of the things he talked about, gerrymandering is something that they do to give a unfair advantage to one political party over another. The Democrats do it as well as the Republicans do it every so many years, okay? Another thing he said in here that I got to pick with was the, let me see, public-private schools based instead of local private tax base, government civil rights bodies, elementary schools, gerrymandering reform, additional polling places, neighborhoods. What was the other one I wanted to jump on? States, per student funding states on an equal basis, paid for by taxpayers that represent government. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. The part in this document that he said about paying for classes that teach us about the history, the discrimination, all that different stuff. Under the Donald Trump administration, they're trying to make it where you can't have classes where you really talk about the real history of American society, whether it be slavery, discrimination, because the Republican Party under Donald Trump says that if you say anything that's negative about the history of America, then that's not being American, that's being discriminatory towards other group of people who are actually, whose ancestors were part of your enslavement of your people. So under Donald Trump's administration, he wants to make it where you can't have certain classes in schools and classes for sensitivity training and jobs if it has anything to do about talking about the negative side of Americans' history. You know what that's called? That's called whitewashing. That's called trying to clean away, whitewash away history. That's trying to rewrite history as if America does not have a history of pillaging, robbery. American society was built off of that. So you gotta, if you're gonna tell history, you gotta tell it all. But under Donald Trump, he wants to suppress people being able to learn and talk about it because it's about, oh, we're gonna make them hate white people. Last time I checked, there has never been a black organization created by black people like the Ku Klux Klan that was designed to harm black people, white people, go into their homes at night, rape their women, hang their men from trees like fruit. There is no black organization that has any history of becoming a complete threat to this society. They tried to make it the Black Panther Party. But you notice all these black organizations don't exist anymore because they made sure they got rid of it. Although the Ku Klux Klan still exists. And it's funny to me when I hear black folks or people on social media saying, well, I don't care about the Ku Klux Klan. Say that to Ahmaud Arbery, who got killed by them racist individuals in Georgia. Say that to Brother Rashid Brooks. Say that to, because a lot of these Ku Klux Klan members are in militias. A lot of them are the Proud Boys. A lot of them are the Boogaloo Boys. A lot of them are part of these groups with the tiki torches who do want to do harm to you, black man. These groups get a 503c nonprofit status. So you got to ask yourself, why do these groups remain thriving while black organizations that are trying to stand up for us, that really are about something, they don't exist? Why did they have to kill Fred Hampton? So on here, you got, I'm just telling it like it is tonight, folks. You got bank lending reform. This is important because I've said this and I'm going to say it again. Black people who are established in business already get turned down for a business loan under the Trump administration for the 4 years he's been in office. Black people, and this report came out recently, didn't come out before this man was in office, as he made things so great for black people. Black people are getting turned down by 54% to get bank loans to expand their existing business. Not to start a business, but to expand an existing business, while white people get turned down only by 24%. This is why this is very important in his contract with Black America, Ice Cube. Bank lending will be regulated, requiring banks to lend a percentage of all loans and credit categories on an equal basis to black populations each bank serves. However, the minimum threshold must yearly meet the percentage equal to the national black population, which is currently approximately 13.4%. Rates on black loans federally and from banks to be the same average rate as whites, meaning give us the same damn deal and benefits that you're giving white folks and everybody else that comes to this country as an immigrant. Because as you realize, black people, ADOS, descendants of slavery, foundational, whatever the hell you want to call it, we don't get treated like everybody else. You got immigrants that come here and get special package deals and get certain opportunities that we're not getting, that we have laid the foundation for. We've laid the foundation in this country and not getting. So Ice Cube did a good job putting that in the plan. Once again, before we criticize Ice Cube, we must understand his plan. What's going on, Kendrick? Good to see you here. Back to the basics. We got beautiful AC in the house. G. Scott's in the house. We've got Robinson in the house. Discussions with Dana is in the house. Good to see you here. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, we got Natros in the house. Make sure you check each other's channels out. Fashion for Life is in the house. Morris is in the house. Tiffany Jackson. Such wonderful people that are here listening to me this late night, and I really appreciate that. Now, we got federal funding of baby bonds. Let's get into what Ice Cube came up with. And once again, you can clearly tell that Ice Cube, and he said that he had been doing some history. He had been doing his research. He's probably been talking to people like the Dr. Claude Andersons of the world, the Yvette Carlettes of the world, the Tone Talks of the world, the Sammy Darrities of the world. You could tell he's been talking to folks to try to smooth this plan out. So here we got federal funding of baby bonds, past federal programs providing every child a government-funded trust account at birth. Wow. Starting with $1,000 contribution. How many of you in the chat room think that's great? If you think it's great, put a 1. If you don't think that's great, put a 2 or put a 3 if you're kind of like in betweeny there. As proposed by Senator Cory Booker and Representatives Presley, accounts to be managed by a treasury and only those born into lower wealth families. So you have to be born into a socially lower economically deprived economic situation. That could actually do great. That could actually do a lot for some of our communities that everybody wants to say that you got to burn, right? And then I know as I'm talking about this, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to say, if you give black people baby bonds, if you give black people some money, some reparations, they just going to go spend the money up and all that kind of stuff. First of all, 1, stop pocket watching. 2, worry about your damn self. Don't worry about what other people do with their money. Of course, when we get an influx of money, there you need to have education. And Ice Cube lays it out. You need to have education so that people understand how to manage their money. And that's why he's saying on here, it needs to be managed. You need accounts to be managed by Treasury and only those born into lower wealth families would receive more contributions each year, up to $46,500 total at age 18. Access to funds allowed but used restricted. See, restricted. This is for you folks out there that's going to say, oh, black folks going to spend the money. Where are the checks and balances? He has it in the plan. At age 18, access to funds allowed but used restricted to assess enhanced actions such as buying a home, starting a business, and funding education. So you see there, this ain't just about giving black people some money under his plan so that you can just go freak it off at the club. It's got to be for something legitimate. Buying a home, starting a business. That's the restriction in it. Let me see what folks are saying in the chat room. Kendrick agrees. Let me see. AC says, hey, okay, so people are talking to each other in the chat room, and I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. So that's what part of his plan is about. Let's move into plan 3. I'm just going to go right through this, folks. So I don't want to keep y'all all night, but I do want to go through this and get your feedback in the chat room. Let me see here. Other groups will get funds if it's not exclusive to us. All black folks, not financially stupid, spend up money the way you want. Did they restrict? Yeah, right. Right. You're right about that. Discussions with Dana. This is what's funny about our people. When the Japanese got their money, Jewish people got their money. Oh, let me show you guys something. I was going to save this for I've got an explosive show that I'm going to be doing about immigration and how it's impacting black people. We're in a lot of trouble, okay? That was the show that I was supposed to do tonight, but I'm going to probably do that show Sunday, maybe tomorrow night. We're in a lot of trouble, black people. Some of us are not going to be alive in the year 2065, the year 5055. But if you have children, you have nephews, daughters, sons, we're in a lot of trouble. These immigrant groups are growing, and guess what? They're not going to hire your black you-know-what. When you go into, for example, Chinatown or other ethnic groups, they usually hire their own people. But we're in a lot of trouble. But let me show you something. I didn't want to show this until I did the other show, but I want to show you guys something. I just think it's appropriate to show you. You see that right there? When Obama was in office, Obama administration earmarked $12 million for Holocaust survivors. Funds to be distributed over 5 years, 1/4. Read that. Funds to be distributed over 5 years, 1/4. 130,000 United States victims of the Nazi persecution living under poverty line. So they were able to identify under the Obama administration Jewish people who were living under the poverty, the poor. They were living poor in America, and they're going to give them money over 5 years. Do you hear? I bet you won't hear one Jewish person in the Jewish community tell other Jewish people, you shouldn't get that money because you're going to spend it up on this and spend it up on that. And I bet you can't find any black person who would talk about black people getting money, criticize Jewish people getting the money by Obama, when Obama couldn't give us anything. But black people, we're the only ones that will criticize our own people potentially, or maybe not even if it's potentially, but we'll criticize our own people coming up on some money. Possibly. Now, everybody in the chat room, why is that? Can anybody in the chat room explain why is that? Discussions with Dana says, did they restrict their funds? No. And no objective to their getting their money. Yeah. That's the thing. I got to agree with you. Discussions with Dana. When the Native American tribes got money, and I was going to save this for, once again, I was going to save this. Y'all got me busting out with stuff that I was going to save. but I'm going to put it up there anyway. To hell with it. Right there, Obama budget included $1 billion for Native American education. President Obama budget request will include a $1 billion for American Indian schools next year, including millions of dollars to remodel crumbling buildings, connect remote classrooms via broadband and internet and all that good stuff. Proposed administration offices announced this week would add another $150 million to correct funding levels for the Bureau of Native Americans, the Bureau of Indians. So Obama gave them money. He did not give us any money, and no one told Native Americans how to spend their money or put restrictions. Now, it was earmarked to rebuild schools and all of that, but nobody was running. And I bet you nobody within the Native American culture or community was running around criticizing their own people from getting some money. But black people, we will pocket watch and criticize and say what we're going to do with money instead of worrying about. And the funny thing about it is, if we were to get money or reparations or some kind of benefit from a plan like this, those same black people that will criticize, that will say that black people going to spend all the money up, I bet you they wouldn't turn down the check if it came in the mailbox. They'd be the first ones probably going out there buying them a brand new car or home. First ones. That's how it works with people like that. All right. Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve here. Let's get into this part right here. So, Federal Reserve and government pensions. For qualified black Americans, Federal Reserve to allow a one-time interest-free loan for home ownership. We need something like that because they tell us that home ownership is one way that you build wealth. So we believe so, but that would be a great start. The Fed to ensure banks and institutions is overseen with bank lending reform. Fed to adapt a moderate monetary theory with goals of full employment, avoidance of actual inflation. The federal and the state pension fund control over trillions of dollars. They must allocate 13.4% of their investment into black-owned enterprises and businesses, okay, venture capital, and private equity funds that take money public entitled must invest. Funds that take money public entitles must invest 13.4% of that total fund in the black-owned business. 13.4%. How many of you agree with that perspective? Let's see. Alfonso says, so he wants the United States government to do the right thing by black America. Yes, but this is the thing. I'm not silly enough to think that the United States government is just going to do all this stuff. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's just like LB, President LB. He told Dr. King in the civil rights movement, you got to make me do it. When he signed the 65 Voters' Right Act, that was done because Dr. King and those in the movement at that time put a hell of a lot of pressure on LB. And that's when LB said we had lost the South forever. And that when that happened, that goes back to what I said earlier. That caused the Dixiecrats to jump from the Democratic Party over to the Republican Party because they didn't agree. At that time, the Democratic Party, which was the Dixiecrat Party, did not agree with black people having the right to vote. And so just let that marinate. How many of you like that number 4 plan, the Federal Reserve? That Federal Reserve plan. Let's go over to the next one. All right. Financial oversight. And I agree with some of you in the chat room that said, okay, why is it that when black people want some money, there got to be a lot of restrictions on us? Other groups get money or get proposals to be given money to them, and there ain't no restrictions on them, but you put restrictions on black folks. Something to think about. Financial oversight. A banking commission or even a cabinet, sub-cabinet post will be set up to overlook and report on black and minority lending housing. I don't like that minority, because when you say minority, you start including all these other people who should not be included, because we need a black agenda for black people. Other groups get an agenda for them. You don't hear other people getting an agenda that talks about other people. It's clearly tailored to them. So I don't like that wording in Ice Cube's part 5 of his contract with black folks, but it's semantics. Leading to housing ownership, mortgages, and enforcement of items 2 and 3 above, such authority will also oversee and audit federal programs such as economic opportunity zones. That opportunity zone, that's Donald Trump talks about that. Community Reinvestment Act, CRA, to determine who is benefiting from disbursement of such funds. Will provide for a transparent reporting mechanism for the abuse to economic programs designed to benefit the community in need. So what he's saying again is that he's putting another checks and balance in to make sure that these programs are not being abused, that are not being misused, that it's getting to the people and benefiting the people who most need the program. What do you think? AC says, hey, hell, we were all enslaved, so ADOS includes a lot of people, technically. AC, ADOS stands for American Descendants of Slavery. So what that means is, if your family wasn't here between a certain timeline, that means black people that were born here, brought into the continent from the western part of Africa into Brazil, because a lot of people don't realize this, that most of the slaves went from Africa, from the continent of Africa, the western part, into Brazil, most of our ancestors were dropped off in Brazil, and then some of our ancestors were brought into America, probably at the tone of 8%, brought into American society, American as into shackle slavery, put on concentration camps we call plantations, as you know the history, sister. And then we were born from that lineage. So ADOS, we have to identify our lineage and what is due us. If you look at our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, they have CARICOM. CARICOM is a program that is seeking reparations for the oppression of Great Britain and the English put upon our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean that owe them money. So I, as a black person in America, I'm not entitled to any money that my brothers and sisters get in the Caribbean that are fighting for what happened to them to where they lay roots. And I'm not entitled to any money from our brothers and sisters in the continent who are fighting to get their land back that was stolen from them by those Europeans that are settling in South Africa and many other parts of the continent, who stole land, who came over as invaders. I'm not entitled to that, but I am entitled to the debt that is owed my people here on the soil we call America. for which my people were born. And of course, we know that there were black people who were native to this land that we call natives or the true Indians. We know that is a reality as well. Let's go to the next plan. I don't want to keep everybody all night. Right here, personal data and credit. Most states publicly release bulk data about arrests unchecked, like the 1970s Fair Credit Report Act regarding credit data. There must be guidelines regarding the arrest records that allow similar privacy and accurate protections in the right to despair and correct incorrect data. Credit services will be reformed to mandate consideration of individuals' consumers' data on rent, utilities, cell phones, and other like bill payments. So if you did time in jail, in prison, and you're coming back to society and you're trying to reform yourself, should you be penalized? If you're trying to reform yourself and get yourself back on your feet, should you still have access to being able to get credit? Because we live in a society where you need credit. Credit rules everything. We need credit to buy cars. We need credit to get a home. Black people really need, and I'm not trying to put this on all black people, but we do need to be more financially literate. A hell of a lot more to understand how to make our money work best for us in the long run, ladies and gentlemen. So that's another part of this plan I wanted to bring up. We're getting close to, let me move through this next one. And here we go. That's number 7. Prison reform. We definitely need prison reform. Prison reform. And check this out. How many of you out there know that the Donald Trump administration has done everything they could to stop people who had felons who paroled from prison trying to get their life together? They won't allow them to vote, even though the state of Florida changed their laws to allow people coming out of prison the right to vote. Now, you know that that's another form of voter suppression. Prison reform, private run prisons, which we should not have private run prisons. We should get rid of private run prisons. Private prisons for profit is dangerous. Private run prisons will be abolished. Yes, prison labor disallowed without consent, and non-violent offenders incarcerated for 10 years or longer will be freed if good behavior standards are met. All prisoners for marijuana possession should be freed. For offenses for illegal drug use or possession to require the government payment for entry into a approved drug rehabilitation program rather than imprisonment. Once any prisoner completes the sentence, voting rights are restored. Now, let me say this. One of the reasons why they're not allowing the ex-felons in Florida to vote, because what they're doing, what the Republicans are doing, is putting more stipulations on them and saying, well, they got to pay off this. They got to pay off that debt. They got to redo this. They got to redo that. Even though the Florida government, people voted on this, said that they should have the right to be able to vote again. Now, for everybody in the chat room, how many of you believe that a non-violent offender should be let out of prison? If you believe people who have only sold marijuana, they did no physical harm to children, women, they did no physical harm to anybody, they didn't use any guns, the only harm that they did was either being caught with drugs on them or something of that nature. What is your, if you think so, put a 1 in the chat room if you think they should be released. If you don't think they should be released, put a 2 in the chat room. If you're not sure, put a 3 in the chat room. Okay. RY says 1. Tiffany Jackson says 1. She agrees. Rob agrees. Alfonso Morris agrees. G. Scott agrees. Brother Duvian agrees, and I agree too. DJ Moss agrees. DJ Moss is in the house. Black to the Basics says 1. June Zone, Brother Zone 1. Discussions with Dana puts 1. DJ Moss at 1. Sugar Love is in the house. I believe they should let out. So Sugar Love puts a 1 in the chat room. I love it. AFC puts a 1. Welcome here. If you are a new person to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the likes. And most importantly, make sure you share this video in your social media. We got Sister Patience in the house. She puts 1. AC puts 1. Okay. So we're all in agreement with this particular part of Ice Cube's contract with Black America. Let's put the next one up. All right, judicial reforms. Eliminate mandatory minimum and 3 strikes laws. The Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice reform through stricter guidelines and greater oversight over police departments. The DOJ can be sued for non-compliance, lynching to become a federal hate crime, and the Ku Klux Klan declared a terrorist organization. And you know, I was keeping my ear to the YouTube streets, and I heard somebody go over this part, and they didn't seem to give a damn about, they didn't care about the Ku Klux Klan. They didn't care about lynching because they didn't think it could happen to them. My God, the Black Panther Party was eliminated by this country. All black militant, all black freedom fighter groups, all groups that were in the best interest of black people in this country were infiltrated through pro programs, infiltrated. Black leaders were killed. Malcolm X, Dr. King, by J. Edgar Hoover and his corrupt FBI. And yet the Ku Klux Klan, who should be declared a hate group, they still exist with a 503c non-profit status. How can any black person in their right mind say that they don't care about the Ku Klux Klan and they don't care about lynching? This is how it works. When the lynching, the federal hate crime under lynching, see, you got to think a little bit more broader, black brothers and sisters out there. Lynching isn't just the act of putting a noose around your neck and hanging you from a tree. Lynching can be what happened to George Floyd. Anything in which a black man is choked. Let's see. Eric Garner was choked out. George Floyd was choked out till he died. That would be considered a lynching under the Hate Crime Act. So for those of you who think that the Lynching Act is something that it should have been put into law a long time ago, I agree with that, a long time ago. But what it does is that anytime black people are tortured in any kind of way, are choked out in any kind of way, that could fall under the lynching statute. And why would you want the Ku Klux Klan to be in existing when the Ku Klux Klan is involved in all these militia groups? I was going to say some bad word here. Wake up. Use critical thinking skills. There's so many people that get on these platforms and they don't know what they're talking about, don't know the history. We'll say we don't care about the Ku Klux Klan if it's living because, hey, I ain't getting lynched today. Yet all our major black organizations don't exist because they took them out of commission. Wake up.
Tell the truth.
All right, next one. Police reform. Look, first of all, let me go back to the other one. I need to ask everyone a question right now. Do you believe that the three strikes law should be eliminated? I know that three strikes law was created in California by two white professors at Hayward State University. And it came about because when George Bush Sr. was running for president, he did the same thing. When he was running again, when he ran for president, he did the same thing that Donald Trump is doing. All this law and order, demonizing black men as the criminals, just like Donald Trump saying, hey, people in the suburbs, you don't want black people coming to the suburbs. You say to yourself, well, he didn't say that info. He didn't have to say it. He put the dog whistle out when he says things about low-income people. Who the hell you think he's talking about? When they talk that way, they're talking about black people. Those are the dog whistles. Those are the subliminal languages that they use to say, hey, you don't want black people moving in your neighborhood. So how many of you, if you agree with eliminating the three strikes law, put a 1. If you don't agree with it, put a 2. If you're not sure, put a 3. I'll give you some time to think about it, folks. Okay, we got back to the basics. She put 1. R.Y. put a 1. So they agree with that. Alfonso Morris put a 2. Doesn't agree with it. Fashion for Life puts a 1. Pro Woman's in the house. Peace to you, sister. She puts a 1. And we got June in zone put a 1. We've got Danielle Azali. Let me puts a 1. Tiffany Jackson puts a 1. And let me just say peace to this person. I'm always bad with names. Peace to you. All right. So let me go. Let's go to the next one, folks. I want to get us through this area. All right, police reform. What I was going to say about that is that they've been talking about police reform for years. Okay, AFC put a 1. Self put a 1. G. Scott Super Earth put a 1. Okay. And Jackie put a 1. Okay. I see. Fantastic, folks. Now, police reform. Look, I'm indifferent about the police reform. We've been hearing this for years and years. Police reform is going to change everything. I'm telling you right now, you can't, in my opinion, you can't reform the police departments because how are you going to reform a white supremacist? It's a part of their culture. That's why police reform does not work, because you cannot reform individuals who practice racism, which equals white supremacy. You cannot reform individuals like that. That's why it does not work. You just had a black man, Brother Walter, in Philadelphia who got shot. You cannot reform the system because the individuals that you have in the police departments in this country, as the FBI laid out back in 2006, have been infiltrated with these Ku Klux Klan and these white supremacist and militia type groups. And we got black folks talking about they ain't worrying about those kind of groups because I ain't getting lynched. I'm not getting, you're foolish. These are the same groups that are a part of the police department who are killing us, shooting us, putting a knee in our necks, choking us. And then they have their associates. Who go out and kill a young man like Trayvon Martin, who's not even a police officer, but he gets special treatment because he's an associate. George Zimmerman. He's an associate member. He's an underling that does the dirty work for them too. We got a lot of those kind of folks running around here. And people will say, well, no, see, he's Hispanic. He's not white. Hell, the leader of the Proud Boys in Florida, he's Hispanic. See, the way white supremacy works is that other groups will reinforce the white supremacy. You see, everybody, you got politicians running around, and you got black folks on TV talking about it's about black and brown, and it's about people of color. Say that to the Hispanics, the Cubans in Florida, who were going stock, lock, and barrel for Donald Trump. They're not voting. They're voting their interest, and their interest is not the majority of black people. It's not in their politics is not in line with our politics. Never has been. And I know people are not going to like what I said, but that's just the truth. Black people, our politics does not align with everybody else, because not everybody else are dealing with the same things that we deal with. Police reform will be implemented in an expansive act that will at minimum include elimination of qualified immunity. Yes, that's got to go. But the only people that can end that would have to be in the damn Congress. The Congress has to do that, and then the garbage Supreme Court that ain't really supreme, they would have to interpret it and set it into reality. But it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen, because that system was put in place to protect certain people who don't have our complexion. See, the problem with black people in America is that we don't have the complexion for the protection. We don't have the complexion for the benefit of the doubt. Qualified immunity required of mandatory malpractice insurance for police officers, make minimum labor, unconstitutional actions by police, mandatory use of dashboard and body cams. Look. I see what Ice Cube is doing with this part of it, but we already have officers that are required to wear their cams, and sometimes they don't even have them on or don't even turn them on. See, that's the white supremacy part of it. They don't want their dirty work to be seen. That's why every time something happens, they're telling black people, hey, turn your cameras off. Hey, move back. What are you doing over here? Because they don't want you observing and watching and filming what they are doing. No knock warrants established. See, he put that in there because Breonna Taylor. And now we're finding out that the buck dancing coon himself, I called him a coon, Daniel Cameron, he lied to the jury. The grand jury said, those guys gave an interview, said that they weren't giving anything. He misled them, and he lied to us. Daniel the Coon Cameron in Louisville, Kentucky. He needs to be recalled. So no knock warrants, establishment, residence requirements, de-escalation training. Okay, we've heard it before. Requiring to update training, several penalties for evidence tampering, including withholdings, DNA. I hear it. I read it. I see what Ice Cube's trying to do right here. But this is the problem. How are you going to fix all of that if you got other corrupt police protecting other corrupt police? We got corrupt police who tamper with the damn evidence to make sure that their partner doesn't get indicted on something. That happens all the time. Who's going to police the police, Ice Cube, in this particular part of your contract with Black America? Who polices the police? A federal database he has on here. And I get it. Believe me, I get it. Boy, I tell you. Wow, folks, I tell you. Let me give me 1 minute, everybody. Play a little music for you. All right, everybody. Let's go back into the pictures here, and we're almost getting close to that conclusion of the. Just bear with me. This other one will be a short one. Okay, the FCC, licensing of public airwaves. Broadcast networks will be required to air black produced content equal to 20% of the total content on networks as measured by time. How many of you agree with that? If you agree with it, put a 1. If you don't agree with it, put a 2. If you're not sure, put a 3. Just real quick, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Let me see. Discussions with Dana. We need our own stations and programming ran by us. Yes. Okay, everybody's agreeing with that. Earl Owens put a 1. The media group, Phoenicia Media Group puts a 1. Back to the Basics puts a 1. Fashion for Life puts a 3. Not sure. Alfonso puts a didn't put anything there. And June in Zone puts a 1. AFC puts a 1. Okay. Let's go to the next one, folks, because I don't want to keep you guys all night. All right. Okay, we have right here the Confederate monuments and institutions eliminate all Confederate statues and use of display of Confederate flags on government grounds or property with public access. Rename all streets, schools, public structures, etc., named after Confederate soldiers or leaders. A memorial will be built in Washington, D.C. to the victims of police excessive force. What do you all think about that? Do you like it? Press a 1. If you don't like it, press 2. Put a 2. And if you're not sure, put a 3. I actually believe that these Confederate statues and flags should be done away with. Why? Because these were traitors to the country. You can't go anywhere in the world where they are erecting statues and flags to those who were the enemy from within their country. If you go to Germany right now, in Germany, to fly a swastika flag, that's illegal. You're going to jail. They don't have any statues erected to Hitler in Germany, but that's being sanctioned by the government because they done away with all of that. But in America, we live in a country where we have army bases, military bases, statues and flags and memorial to traitors. What civilized society celebrates people who were traitors to that society? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Can anybody make that make sense to me? Because it makes no sense. Let's go over to the next one. We're almost close to conclusion of this slide show. All right. Number 12, AJP programs. AJP programs. Does anybody break down AG programs are education and jobs? Adoption of the AGP, a public-private program that provides access to jobs, program, and education or training for people willing to put in the work and commitment. I agree with that 100%. I agree. I put a 1 in the chat room. I agree with that. And the key word that he has in there for people that are willing to put in the work. If you are willing, and we've got a program, and what's good about this is that it gives people education, job training, and what does that do? That decreases the recidivism of people going back to prison. Well, why do people go back to prison? Why do people commit crimes? Because why? Economics. You're trying to make money. You got bills to pay. You got to feed yourself. If you give people opportunity, you decrease the prison industrial complex. Even though I personally don't think that America wants to stop the prison industrial complex system because they're making too much money off of the prison industrial complex system. So most people in the chat room are putting 1. Earl Owens says work and commitment. Yes. Back to the Basics puts 1. Tiffany Jackson puts 1. AC says this is already exists though. You're AC, you're right. Let's see. Patience said this. I just don't think they're going to stand by any of this. I have no trust in the political system. Patience, I agree with you. I don't think they're going to implement any of the stuff that Ice Cube has in mind. I think they're going to pay it window dressing because the things that he's promoting are very progressive. Very, very progressive. And I don't think we have a government, even though the Democrats always talking about their progressive. And you got modern Democrats, you have Republicans who are very conservative, who are going to who don't want to spend money because these are social programs that require spending of money, which is going to take money from taxes, tax dollars, okay? I just don't think that America is a progressive country as we think we are. If we're so progressive, why is it that we don't have a speed train right now? You go to Japan. Japan is more technological and more futuristic than America is. We're still functioning and operating off of coal and oil, things that are destroying the planet. It's crazy.
Tell the truth.
Just crazy.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. This will be the last slide, ladies and gentlemen. Black responsibility. Uh-oh. Ice Cube said, okay, we're going to put this plan together for you black folks, but you got to be responsible. Black responsibility. Chronic poverty creates a atmosphere full of negativity, frustration, hopelessness, depression. I would agree. Alcoholism, drug abuse, crime, and violence. These are some of the conditions that plague the black community, which is dealing with extreme generational poverty. Yes, as we begin to gain social and economic equality, it is our duty to clean up ourselves. Yes, and our communities. Well, of course, I would agree with that. But the question is, who's going to do it? Because we got some people who say, let's burn the community. The hell with the community. I want to run off somewhere else. You know, the hell with the black community. We got black folks like that. We got people that say, hey, the community doesn't want me. They want the thugs. The women want the thugs. You know, we hear a lot of those narratives so much. It's like an echo chamber of the same narratives. But what I notice is that everybody talks about these problems on the YouTube streets, but nobody actually is willing to say what they're willing to do about it. Nobody's willing to say, hey, this is what I'm doing within my community. No one's willing. The first responsibility is to your family, your wife, your children. That's your first responsibility. But oftentimes we hear people talk about these problems, but nobody has a plan. B, nobody, when you ask them, are you a part of an organization that's doing any kind of work in the community? They're not part of an organization, but they're blabbing off at the mouth. So then you say, okay, they'll say, well, I ain't got no time because I work a lot of hours. Then the next question you would ask is, okay, would you like to support an organization that's doing the work that you're not willing to do and don't have the time to do? And you don't get an answer from that. You don't hear anybody say, well, yeah, I'm willing. Tell me about an organization. You got an organization? I'll join it. I'll pay. Where do I donate? Who do I get in contact with? I never have anybody ask those questions because a lot of people like to talk about the problems. I've certainly have talked about the problems too, but a lot of people are not willing to roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty or either support organizations that are about the work. See, none of these problems in the black community are going to change by themselves without some of us who are willing to do the work. And in these communities, there are people that live in these communities that are actually doing some work, but they could probably use more support. We often hear black men on YouTube argue that black women are the blame for the black community being in its condition that it's in, some black communities that are in bad shape, and that young black boys are effeminate and acting the way they act because of black mothers who have decided to take on the government cheese of welfare to throw the black man out the door. There's some that would say that. But this is my question to everybody. You can point the finger to wherever you want to point the finger. It ain't going to change the conditions, because if we're going to say we're concerned about how black young boys or young men are being raised in these black communities, and we want to point the finger at black women, for example, how do you expect a young black boy to develop into manhood if there aren't black men willing to get involved in mentorship? And mentorship doesn't mean that you give all your time. You give what time you can. Hell, the thing that people don't, and this is how I know that there's a lot of people who ain't doing the work, because you don't have to spend a lot of time with some of these young people to make a difference. Some of these young people just like the fact that somebody's taking the goddamn time. However, how much time it is. I mean, I've had these experiences where a young man would say, man, nobody took the time to tell me about this. You hung out with me for just a little while, but I learned so much within that small time. You change one mind, you impact one mind in a positive manner, and you can change the goddamn world with one mind, because that one mind can be inspired by you and it can grow up and go on to do great things. See, the black men, I'm saying this to the sisters out there right now. The black men that I grew up going to school with, high school and going to college, and the brotherhood that I'm a part of, we don't spend time crying and whining about what's wrong with the community and what's wrong with black women, for example. We're too goddamn busy making the difference, and we're too damn busy working in our professions, living up to our goals and objectives, and we're too damn busy winning. The black men that I hang around with don't spend time talking about women 24/7. The women that we want, we get, and the women that we don't want, that don't fit the narrative, we don't spend time wasting time on them or talking about them. That's manhood. You don't spend time talking about issues that you're not prepared to change, that you're not prepared to deal with, and that you don't care about. Move on. At the same time, nothing's going to change in these communities around the word that he put in the contract, black responsibility. What is black responsibility? Black women, you're responsible. Black man, you're responsible for the raising of your child, to give your child the balance of male and feminine energy. If we can certainly support young black men on the sports field of basketball and football, we can certainly take the time within those programs to put something in their head that's going to help them. So those are the type of black men that I spent my time being around in my organization, are men that are about doing something, less talk and more doing. We have a word that we use a lot called excuses. Excuses are tools of the incompetent, and those that use them seldom succeed in life. You take the ball, you run with it, people are in your way, you get them the hell out of your way, you go straight to your goal, whatever that goal is. If that goal is that you're going to mentor young men and young ladies, and you have a goal to be successful in doing that, then you focus and you get with other men that are like-minded. I don't have time to be, and I kind of get sick of it too, debating with people on YouTube about these issues. And it's probably, and you know what? It's a waste of my it's a waste of my damn time. They just want, because people just want to be heard. And with that said, thank you for the super chat, Sister, back to the basics. So I got to do something for you because you blessed me with a beautiful super chat. And I really appreciate that a hell of a lot. So let's get into it. Let's go there. Let's see. And here we go.
Tell 'em run it up. I wake up, flex, thumb down, now check. No drip, this.
Thank you for the super chat.
No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck, but first I stretch. Tell 'em run it up. Tell 'em run it up. I wake up. Yeah. I wake up, flex, I'm down now, check. No drip, this wet. Tell 'em run it up. No sleep,
Thank
no
you
rest.
for the
Might
super
crash,
chat.
might wreck, but first I stretch. Tell 'em run it up. I wake up, flex, I'm down now, check. No drip, this wet. Tell 'em run it up. No rest, might crash, might wreck, but first I stretch. Tell 'em run it up. 9 out of 10, run through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turn to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies.
All right, back to the basics. Thank you for the super chat, sister. I appreciate that as always. Super chatted me with the sticker. The sticker was really cool. I appreciate that. The reason why I went on a sort of a rant right there, you have to excuse me, because this is a part of his contract that really bothers me, because he's saying, once again, it doesn't bother me. This is the part of his contract that I think is relevant, because he says black responsibility. We are all responsible. So that means we got to stop pointing fingers at each other. We are all responsible for raising our children, raising our families, building our communities up. We're all responsible. The black community, which is dealing with extreme generational poverty, as we begin to gain social and economic equality, is our duty to clean up ourselves and our community. This contract is a two-way street. As we gain social and economic equality, we must begin to dissolve and better, the betterness in our hearts for past wrongs. The bitterness in our hearts for past wrongs, We must become better citizens who are more productive on all levels of American society. We really must step up after we pass the contract with Black America with no more excuses left in the kennel. Our entertainers should be praised to deliver more positive content that leads our youth to make better choices. I would agree with that, which means we need to cancel out. Now, some folks ain't going to agree with me. We need to cancel out the Cardi B's. We need to cancel out the Omega Stallions. We need to cancel out the buck dancing Lil Waynes. We need to cancel out the dearly troubled Kanye West's. We need to cancel out those who are not conducting themselves or presenting themselves in the best light to the Black community. We need to, and I'm going to say this, Cardi B should have been canceled out a long time ago when she was sitting up there admitting how she would rape Black men by picking them up from the club, at the strip club that she worked, bring them back to a hotel room, get them roofied up on drinks, and then take their money out of their pockets and then have her transformer friends, you know what I mean when I say that, her transformer friends come into the room and have their way with the unconscious Black man. That should have been enough to have Black women talking about responsibility and cleaning up your act. That should have been enough to have Black women cancel her out and no longer support her. At the same time, we can't have rusty and dusty and musty men who don't take care of their responsibility when they know it's their child. So yes, as I've been promoting Black fatherhood, I recognize that there are some out there that are musty, crusty, and dusty who are not doing what they're supposed to do as a father. And that ain't cool at all. Let me see here. Bitterness. Our youth to make a better choice in their life. A new pride must develop with these new opportunities, and we must fight against negativity, frustration, homelessness, depression, alcoholism, drug abuse, and crime and violence. I would agree with Cube when he says that. I totally would agree with that wholeheartedly. Let me do something real quick here and get some of your thoughts as I get close to a conclusion of this video tonight. Let's see. Everybody in the chat room, would you agree that as Black women and Black men, we need to be more responsible? We need to make better decisions. What are your thoughts? In the chat room, you can put 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for maybe, I'm not sure. We all can do better. Me as well. I can do better. I can do better. Everybody can do better. Nobody's perfect. We're not perfect. We all make our mistakes. We've all done things that we might have regretted in the past with people in our life, women in our life, family members in our life. We might have said things that we regret that we said today. And we got AC says 1. Discussions with Dana puts 1. RY, there is always room for improvement. She puts a 1. AC, absolutely. Brother Aduvian puts a 1. Absolutely. RY, absolutely. Priest, I appreciate that, everybody. I think I really appreciate what everybody being here tonight with me. So to everybody that's listening, keep this in mind. If you want to get more information about his contract, it goes deeper than what I read. I read the summary section of his page. If you go to, just put in your search engine, contract with Black America. And then when you go on the website, you can go a little bit deeper in detail on each one of those 13 areas that I just read off tonight, which was just basically the summary. So my question to everybody tonight is, Ice Cube, in my opinion, is not a coon. He's not a sellout. Ice Cube actually came up with a pretty damn good plan. Is it going to be implemented? I personally don't think that whether the Democrat Party gets in or the Republican Party gets in, that they're really going to implement everything in his plan verbatim. I simply think that the Trump administration came to him because they're trying to score political points with black people, particularly black men. I think the Democratic Party came to him, said they liked some of the things in his plan, claimed that they were doing some of the things that are in his plan that they plan to do, so they say. And I think they're just trying to score political points, either one of these parties. And the latest news right now, as far as politics are concerned with this election, they're saying that black men, if black men were to vote against Donald Trump, that in Florida, in the state of Florida, that Florida could possibly go to Biden. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? You can't believe polls anyway. So my thing is, I'm going to say it again as I put these pictures back up here. Whether it's Joe Biden, whether it's this white supremacist who represents his white supremacist political party, the Democratic, or what I call the Democrats, and whether it's this white supremacist here, Donald Trump, who represents the Republican Klan, but you can make the argument that it's no longer the Republican Klan, that it's the Trump Klan in his menus. While black people on YouTube are getting all up in their feelings about Donald Trump, while you're celebrating, say, oh, he's going to be reelected, while you're arguing with other black people, which is actually a waste of time. Why do we put so much energy debating about these two chumps? I don't know. The difference between these two chumps, and you all have heard me say this before about the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, the difference is that if Joe Biden gets in office, if he wins this election come Tuesday or after Tuesday, because they're saying that it may take a week to figure out who wins, so they say. If Joe Biden wins, what we are simply going to get as black people, which is what we've always gotten before, is that the Democrats are going to promise us a lot, but they're going to come a day short and $1. They're going to come $1 late and 25 cents short. $1 late and 25 cents short with us. They're probably not going to do everything that we want in that plan, which they told Ice Cube they're claiming that they're going to implement, or that they already have things like it that they're implementing. So we have to see, because with the Democratic Party, you get screwed with Vaseline. Now, with the Republican Party, they are straightforward. They don't sugarcoat anything. They don't tell you what you want to hear, black people. They will tell you straight up, we ain't doing nothing for you. They will tell you straight up, if you can't find a job, that's because you didn't try hard enough. They'll tell you straight up, if you want we can't give you $15 minimum wage because you should have went to school and got better education. See, the Republicans are about, their whole philosophy is about accountability. You know, as the Republicans, they don't really talk about policy much. You get a lot of people who get on these social media platforms that claim to be Republicans. They talk little about policy, and it's more about values. That's their whole stick. That's their pimp stick, values. So they're gonna give you the tough love, because what the Republican Party does is that they screw you without Vaseline. So when they screw you, they're gonna make sure it hurts you real bad. They don't care. The Republican Party is a party designed to benefit the corporations and the rich. Because if they weren't, then good old Donald Trump and all the other Republicans before him would have given American citizens the type of tax benefit that they've given corporations all these years, even before Donald Trump got into office. So if Trump gets in office, he'll screw you without the Vaseline. And he will continue to embolden the white supremacists. You see? He will continue to embolden these type of individuals. Now, let me see something right here. What did I want to play for you all before we come to a conclusion tonight? Where is that at? Listen to this right here, folks. Remember the debate between these two chumps? Listen.
Listen, who is on your list, Joe? Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
So we're going to get we got two guys who could not even have a civil debate. And we're asked to choose which one of the chumps that we want. And black people, as I said before, and everybody's saying this, why are we always the ones choosing the lesser of the two damn evils? It's really a damn shame that black people are always in this position where we have to choose which evil person do we want to be in charge of our country for the next 4 or maybe even 8 years. So I'm here to tell you, black people, don't get emotional about these candidates. Because as Dick Gregory said, and he said it, we don't select the presidents. They are selected for us. We simply vote for which one of the elite that comes from Harvard, Yale, or elite rich white man to vote for every 4 to 8 years, because America is really a polyocracy. What is a polyocracy? A polyocracy is in which you continue to elect the elite. The elite individuals are selected for you. One of the things that is badly missing in our political system is the ability to say none of the above. Why don't we have a system in which we can say, I don't like Trump and I don't like Joe Biden, take them away? Well, we can't say that to Trump because Trump is running for his second election because he's already in office. But what I'm saying is, wouldn't it be nice if we could say, I don't want either one of these people. Bring us new candidates that we choose as a republic. You don't have that such system because we don't have a just system in American society. Not whatsoever. Before I end, let me go and give you this. Let me go to a commercial break before I end tonight, because this is important. Donald Trump is going around saying that we're turning the corner of the COVID-19, that we're turning the corner. It's all good. I'm healthy, even though he got the greatest health care that money could buy. Guess where that money came from? Our tax dollars. So while he's bragging and lying about we're turning the corner, we're finding out that the COVID-19 is spiking up over the goddamn world. In Europe, it is spiking up across America. And as a result of that, you may need to wear a mask. Now, some of you may not want to wear a mask. And those of you who do want to wear a mask, why not, if you're going to wear a mask, buy it from a black-owned company and buy black? Why not do that? Why wouldn't that be the intelligent thing to do? So with this commercial break, check it out and support this company. And here we go.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I hope y'all wearing your mask everywhere you go, and more specifically that KN95, protecting against all the germs that are in the air. But also I want to tell y'all one more thing to stay safe. Hand sanitizer, but with aloe vera. So you put some of this on, you rub it around. Not only do you knock all the germs, but The aloe vera smells so amazing that you're killing two birds with one stone without drying out your skin, because traditional hand sanitizer leaves your hands feeling clammy and disgusting. So definitely get hand sanitizer with aloe vera. So one more thing I want to tell you about, though. This code right here, cut the check. So let's say you bought a couple of masks, you bought a couple hand sanitizers, and your order exceeds $50. We waive the shipping fee with the code cut the check. So on your checkout, remember to put that in.
Okay. I know Brother Aduvi and you were saying that the spikes are fake. I'm not really going to debate anybody. I know there's people out there who don't think any of this is real, and there's people who think it's real. I'm not going to debate anybody about it. Reason why is because I see it in my own world that I live in. I've seen people come down with it. I've seen what it can do to the mind, to the body. If the spikes are lower, if they're exaggerating that, maybe they are. I don't know, brother. If that is true, Brother Aduvian, put a link in the chat room. If you have, because I'm not gonna speak negatively if people have a different opinion. I don't want anybody to. I'm not expecting anybody to agree with everything that I say. You have your own mind. You're right. You have the right to your own opinion. Not always your own facts, though, folks. But if you do have some additional information that questions what I just said about things spiking, and you have a link or some information that can enlighten us, put that in the chat room. This is about information. Are people dying from this? Yes, they are. That part of it is real. I know that much personally. But put a link in there and so that we can go deeper into the let's take a survey. Hell with it. Let's take a survey. How many of you in the chat room believe that the spike or the COVID-19 is legitimate? Put a 1. If you don't, put a 2. And if you're on the fence, be honest here. Please be honest. If you are on the fence about this situation, put a 3, meaning you're not sure, you don't know what to believe, put a 3. If you don't believe anything, put a 2, and a 1 if you agree that it is real. If you don't agree that it's real, put a 2. If you agree it's real, put a 1. And if you're on the fence and you don't know what to believe, put a 3. Let's see what we got here in the survey. Discussions with Dana is 1. Rob is 1. Earl Owens put 1. AC puts a 3. She's on the fence with what's going on. And I got nothing wrong. I got no criticism of you. Everybody has a right to their opinion. Let's see. 1, but the new data is not being reported. Well, one reason why it's not being reported, let's not forget that Donald Trump took over the CDC because he didn't want the CDC putting out the numbers that weren't favorable to his administration. See, people forget that. If we're going to say that the numbers are not correct, well, can you say that the CDC is functioning in its full capacity and that the Donald Trump administration is not having some influence over how they are operating? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. AFC says 1. Tiffany Jackson says 1. She says in Europe it's spiking up, they say. Back to the bases. Let me see. Brother Duvian, the CDC and the scientists have not found. Let me see what Duvian is saying. The CDC and the scientists have not found the virus yet. Facts. Okay. Brother Duvian, I'll go with what you're saying. And I'll do some research myself. I'll go with what you're saying and I'll do some research and see what we can come up with. We've got Rob. We got Williams in the house. Sister Williams in the house. 1, I have recovered from COVID-19. Yeah, right. We got black folks that have caught the COVID-19 and dying of it and have recovered. Now, this is another thing that's bothering me. I was going to save this for my integration show, but I'll just say this out loud. Right now in Seattle, Washington, and in California, The governor proposed a long time ago, and recently in Seattle, Washington, they're proposing to give millions of dollars to people that are illegal to help them with treatment and housing and everything else with the COVID. But yet they say that black people who are citizens of this country are disproportionately being hurt by COVID-19. And I don't see the government signing a bill. Wait a minute. Who's the government ran by? Donald Trump. I don't see the Trump administration signing a bill to give black people relief. I don't see the Congress, because I'm going to be honest here. Congress has got to put a bill together to have, just like they did with the money for the black colleges that Trump brags about. The Congress has to put together a bill for Donald Trump to sign to give black people stimulus relief for being highly impacted by what? COVID-19. But yet you got Seattle and California, where the governor is giving these folks all the benefits. But what about the black folks in California? They're talking about doing a reparation study. That's just a study. That's not no tangible money. But they just popped off. Matter of fact, let me show y'all this. The hell with it. I'm going to let y'all see this clip that I got here. Not a clip, but let me let y'all see something. Right here, if you don't believe me. Seattle starts COVID-19 relief fund helping undocumented immigrants. Seattle launched a $9 million relief fund Thursday that will give cash grants to undocumented immigrants unable to access federal stimulus money. The question is this, before people think that I'm a tyrant, why would illegals be entitled to federal money if they ain't a citizen? They ain't paying into the system. That's one question I have. Another thing, let me show you this right here. California to give cash payment to immigrants hurt by virus. California will give cash payments to immigrants living in counties illegally who have been hurt by this situation. But yet they say black people who are citizens who have been hurt by it, and I don't see any cash grants, cash payments, or anything being given to us. I don't see it being given to us by individual states or even by the Trump administration or the Congress, which is made up of Republicans and Democrats, who would be responsible to write a bill to let Donald Trump sign the bill. That has not happened. So ask yourself, folks, what do you think is going on? Everybody in the chat room, before I end tonight, what do you think is going on? What is that? How does that make you feel? I mean, to me, I'm not surprised by it. It's to be expected. It's the reality that we live in American society, you see. It's a reality, folks. A reality that we must deal with. Put in the chat room right now your opinion about the information that I just displayed, which is information that I will talk more about when I do my other show about how immigration is impacting black people. That right there are two examples. One group that is illegal, people that were not born here but came into the country illegally, are able to receive benefits, while black people who built the country, laid the foundation, worked hard, marched in the streets for civil rights laws that protect even the illegals, we don't get a penny, a nickel, a dime. We don't even get a ham sandwich. What do you all think? What do you all believe? Tell me something.
Tell the truth.
makes no damn sense. So let's see. Tiffany Jackson are so right. Let me see here. Something, God, I'm missing some people are writing some things that I want to read. Let's see. It makes no sense at all. Why do we not hold our black politicians responsible? Yes, they are responsible because they're the main ones that get on television shows talking about the comorbidities of black people, how we're the most affected by what's happening, and yet they're not doing anything to create a package for us. Now, don't get me wrong. They can't even agree on a general package for the whole population. So let's keep it 100% real here. The Democrats and the Republicans can't agree on a stimulus package that would benefit everybody in the country that's a citizen, let alone give us some damn money. So that just shows you how, in a nutshell, dysfunctional this political system, which is dysfunctional, the same political system that we're told that we have to believe in, that we have to vote every 4 to 8 years, that we got to give these candidates a chance. Things of that nature.
Problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Stuff like that.
We will make America great again.
We spend all our time trying to figure out as black people where we fit into the scope of things. I'll tell you where we fit in. We don't fit in at all. We're a second thought. Even our black politicians treat us they take us for granted as well. They figure, hey, it doesn't matter. I'm black. I'm going to get in. They're going to reelect me. We sitting up here arguing with other black folks over which one of these white supremacists to vote for. Got black folks arguing with each other over Trump emotionally. And we don't even keep black politicians accountable. If I say something negative about Trump on a panel or even my show, I can get criticized, right? Oh, someone who's black who's for Trump would jump all down my throat. Yet, I don't see that same energy to keep these black politicians in check, who are also failing us in their lack of execution. And I know there's black people out there, black women in particular, who believe because Kamala Harris is on the ticket with Joe Biden, if he was to get into office, that means that everything's going to be great for black people because she's going to do so many things for us. I know a lot of black men were heavily incarcerated under her leadership as top cop of California. I know the laboratory that was working under her held hundreds and hundreds of evidence that could have freed black men out of prison. Somehow that was all screwed up. You got black men, you got black people cheerleading about, oh, well, Trump's got those opportunity zones. Yeah, the same opportunity zones that are gentrifying the black community. Where only the ones who have the money, the clout, the connections, the access to capital that are black can build something in these communities, but it drives out the black people who can't afford to live there. Where are the programs for the small man? And don't even get on now. jobs. What type of jobs did he create that has created wealth, prosperity, and the ability to raise a family? I have asked this question and nobody can answer it because nobody knows. For all we know, jobs, his job creation could be service jobs where you don't make a livable wage. I have done research to find this. You can't find it. Because they don't want you to know overall what these jobs are. Ask those white boys in West Virginia, the ones that worked in the coal mines, who were protesting Donald Trump's administration. Mr. Make America Great Again. They were protesting him, his administration. So they won't tell you about that. Nobody wants to talk about these because when you talk about Trump's negatives, you have some of our people who act like we ain't never criticized the president. Every president that's been in the White House has taken a criticism by the black community. Good criticism and bad. Trump's no different. See, I'm not one of these black men that's caught up in his celebrity status. I'm not caught up in the fact that I saw him on the Lifestyles of Rich or Famous. I'm not caught up in the photographs that he took with rappers or black politicians. I don't care. I'm not swayed by any of that superficial BS. That's superficial stuff. With that said, everybody, that ends my program tonight. Thank you. Let me look in the chat room and see who we got here. RY is in the house. Earl Owens, AFC, Brother Aduvian, Rob, thank you for being here. Back to the basics, Sister AC. Who else? Earl Owens, Tiffany Jackson, RY, Naturals in the house. Discussions with Dana is in the house. Thank you. I'm going to end the program right here. Make sure you share this video in your social media. Share it in all your social media. Please like the video if you could. I'm going to get off of here and get some rest. I thank you for coming over this late night around the country, around the world. And we're going to be back at this very soon. I appreciate everybody's support of the show. And don't forget, I have the podcast channel. I'm doing a lot of content. I'm loading up a lot of pre-produced content over there very rapidly. And also check out the traditional podcasting platforms that you can find me on. Let me put something on the screen real quick just to give you a quick little reminder right there. Those are the traditional podcasting platforms that you can catch me on right there. Check those out if you can. It won't hurt you at all to check those out. So you can find me on there, which is a good thing. And I appreciate everybody. I'm going to get on out of here and have a good night, a good sleep, rest well. Tomorrow's another day. We're going to get out there and make some things happen, everybody. Peace to you. Love to you. Like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the Information Man Show. And be on the lookout for my next live stream. And peace.
Eat it too, but a little grace would be enough for me to prove.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
You're my mirror, I can finally see, bringing out the best in me. Yeah, I don't want no problems, but I know I got a lot of work to do. I be hoping
Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Weather the storm. I'm starting to believe you can. 'Cause baby, you the remedy. You're my mirror, I could finally see, bringing out the best in me, yeah. I don't want these problems, I know I got a lot of work to do. Baby, I'm not perfect, but I know I'm worth it, working out my issues with you, with you. Issues, I know I got issues. Hate you, then I miss you again. Selfish, I can be so selfish. Spend more time with friends. Please forgive my attitude. I want my cake and eat it too. But a little grace would be enough for me to prove. Baby, you the remedy. You're my mirror, I could finally see, bringing out the best in me, yeah. I don't want no problems, but I know I got a lot of work to do. Baby, I'm not perfect, but I know I'm worth it, working out my issues with
Baby, why you playing with my love? I'm trying to be patient with you now. I'll never be sober if you don't pull me closer. Look me in my eyes and tell me how. I'm hypnotized. I'm hypnotized. I've been feeling emotional, thinking about you, babe. What can we focus on? What we should do? Tell me the truth. 'Cause I don't wanna see you with somebody else. And I've been feeling lonely in this king-size bed. I'm trying not to worry about the things you say. I ain't got the time, you're always on my mind. Baby, why you playing with my love? I'm trying to be patient with you now. I'll never be sober if you don't pull me closer. Look me in my eyes and tell me how. I'm hypnotized. I'm hypnotized. I've been feeling delusional, thinking about us, babe. Your body's so beautiful. All I want is your love, can't get enough. 'Cause I don't wanna see you with somebody else. And I've been feeling lonely in this king-size bed. I'm trying not to worry about the things you say. I ain't got the time, you're always on my mind.